Hi guys, today we're going to cover a little bit of IB biology, and the unit that we're going to focus on today is water. And under unit water, we are going to focus on two areas, which is water as a medium for life and hydrogen bonds. So let's get started. Now, first thing that we have to know under the unit water as medium of life is that the first cell had evolved in a very watery environment, but more specifically, it had evolved deep in oceans and very close to hydrothermal vents. Now, hydrothermal vents are cracks or fissures in the seabed that allow water to pass as it is heated by geothermal activity. And the reason why hydrothermal vents are so important is because these hydrothermal vents are deep near the seabed, so generally the sea level is very deep, and therefore there's very minimal sunlight in these regions, and organisms cannot obtain a lot of energy via sunlight. So this is a great source of energy for these organisms. And the way that the first cell had evolved is water and solutes got trapped within a membrane, and chemical reactions had occurred within that membrane-bound structure. And the reason why these chemical reactions had occurred is because water is in a very dissolved state. So there are a lot of molecular collisions, which then lead to a lot of chemical reactions. Some general facts that I would recommend you to know in this unit is first that Earth had formed 4.5 billion years ago, and not exactly concurrently, but during the same time period, water had also formed. And it was 3.8 billion years ago that the first life had emerged. Some general notable properties of water is that first, water is a very good solvent. Second, water is a really good metabolite. Metabolites are substances that are created or used or modified during metabolic reactions, such as hydrolysis or condensation, for example. But for the sake of specificity, let's look into the definition of metabolic reactions more specifically. So, metabolic reactions are chemical reactions that generally occur within a cell or within living organisms in order to transform molecules to become chemically stable or permeable or polar or less toxic. So that's what it is. At the same time, water is a very good temperature buffer. This is because of the fact that it has a very high specific heat capacity. So during any catalyzing reactions conducted by enzymes, water is able to maintain a very constant optimum temperature, which allows for optimum activity. Fourth, water maintains biological structures. Now, this is in the sense that in the formation of cell membranes, water generally maintains these biological structures. It also impacts the folding of proteins, and water surrounds the DNA in order to support the double helix structure. Right, the reason why hydrogen bonds can be formed in water is because despite water being electrically neutral, the sharing of electrons in water molecules are uneven. And what I mean by that is oxygen generally has more protons, and they therefore attract electrons from the hydrogen. So we kind of get this sort of angled shape in a water molecule because oxygen has 8 protons. It kind of has a greater pull of the electrons. Hydrogen, on the other hand, it only has 1 proton, so less pull. So generally, we get this sort of kind of like a induced sort of positive charge for the hydrogen and a negative charge for oxygen. And therefore, because hydrogen bonds kind of form and reform consistently, and because water are polar molecules, we kind of get these hydrogen bonds in between water molecules.